Warning: the following presentation may be disturbing or triggering to some viewers. All information on this channel is provided by the local news and is public to all viewers for your own research. Viewer discretion is advised.
A man has died after a shooting downtown this afternoon.
The Toronto Police Marine Unit has just pulled out a firearm in what they believe to be linked to the city's sixth homicide.
They also tell us a 19-year-old turned himself in. That teenager now facing second-degree murder charges.
Wagwan, everybody. Welcome to our next episode of Talk the Things podcast. Today, we're going to be doing a next true crime episode, but we're going to be doing a breaking episode. This case happened about 2 days ago at the time of recording, so I want to talk about it. We're going to be going downtown, and we're going to be talking about the Ice Condos. First, I want to explain those Ice Condos a little bit because those are infamous condos. Nobody in the city likes them. People even have it off as those buildings are cursed. The amount of stuff that's happened at those buildings, because I think it's like 3 of them or 2 of them. It's like a couple buildings, and it looks really nice. So a lot of people have B&Bs in there, but that's what makes it such a problem for the people that live in the building is that it's almost like a hotel the way it runs. So there's always so much people just coming in and out of there. People don't like that. The people that live there. There's always fire drills, people are always flying off of the balconies, landing on the mega platforms, like the sky floors that they have, so they don't reach the full ground. But they're jumping from such a high floor that they're landing on like the middle ground, if you know what I mean. Like it's like the floor that's like on the 20-something floor. Like it's not really the ground. Bodies are always piling up on there. Gunshots always happening. Murders are always happening. But today we're going to be talking about a person by the name of Yonadab. I hope I'm saying that right. Yonadab Dar, who was 16 years old. Now, I believe his friend them just call him Yona because I found his TikTok and I seen a whole bunch of people posting about him on TikTok and stuff. And I seen that he was mixed with Ethiopian and Eritrean. And he comes from Bleakers. If you guys remember, I did a whole video talking about that area. You guys can go look back on that video. So he come from downtown too. So now I want to move on to the actual crime, which happened on March 23rd, 2025. And of course, it happened in Ice Condos. Now, Yona was at a B&B, and the B&B was on the 49th floor. Now, around 5:50 p.m., there was a report of a shooting that happened on the 49th floor in one of the units. So police ended up, going over there, going to go see Wagwan, where they found Yona shot and he was pronounced dead at the scene. Now, the weird thing is that the investigators them were saying that it looks like he got shot in the early AMs and was just there for all those hours. But when police got reports of the body around that same time, they're saying is when a 19-year-old ended up turning himself in, which led me to believe that the only way they knew about this body was that the man turned himself in. Because I was wondering if he was found at 5:50, or that's when the report was made for him to go over there to go look Wagwan, and then they say that the man was dead from in the early AMs. What happened between all of that time? When was the B&B booked for? If the B&B was supposed to be done, then the people that own the place would have came back. Where were the people them in the B&B? You know what I mean? It was just him alone in the B&B. Like, I don't know. I have some questions, but we're gonna get into that later on in the podcast. But it gets even worse that it turns out that the man who did this was his friend, is what the news is saying, that this was his friend, and that after the whole thing, there were security cameras that caught him running, and the man went and dashed his gun into the river. And then I seen a news clip of them drawing it out the river. I think that was this morning that they were doing that. So I want to play you guys a news clip. I want to play you guys a TikTok video that I seen of a news report, and then I'm going to come back with my thoughts because this is a weird story.
A man has died after a shooting downtown this afternoon. Toronto police say they were called to York Street and Lakeshore Boulevard just before 6 p.m. When officers arrived, they found a man with gunshot wounds. He was pronounced dead on scene. There is no word on suspects or the circumstances leading up to the shooting. Keep it here on CP24 as we follow the development.
Learning more about a murder in the Ice Condo buildings in downtown Toronto over the weekend. Toronto police are now telling us a 16-year-old was shot and killed on the 49th floor of the building. They also tell us a 19-year-old turned himself in. That teenager now facing second-degree murder charges. Now, what police say they know so far, they believe the shooting happened early Sunday morning. They say they were called to the area on Sunday evening. That's around the same time the suspect turned himself in to police. In terms of the relationship between the two, police confirm they were friends. No further details on what the motive was behind the shooting. Police say that is still part of their investigation, but they are calling this an isolated incident.
The Toronto Police Marine Unit has just pulled out a firearm in what they believe to be linked to the city's 6th homicide. So it's linked to a shooting that happened at 12 York Street in the Harbourfront neighborhood. Police now tell us that a 16-year-old boy was shot and killed Sunday morning. That 16-year-old was Yanadab Dar. A 19-year-old has turned himself in to Toronto police. Police confirm that the two males did know each other. No other person was hurt in this shooting, but the suspect now faces second-degree murder charges. He appeared in court earlier Monday morning.
All right, you guys just seen those videos. Now I want to go into my final thoughts and my questions that I had with this whole case, because like you heard me say earlier, where the hell was everybody in this B&B? You know, if you go to a B&B more time, there'll be about, I don't know, because this is an apartment, it's not like it's a house where it can hold too much people. So I will say at least 10 people. But I've been to B&Bs where we had a whole 3-floor house and how much bedroom, and there was still only like 6 people. So there couldn't be too much people, but it would have never been empty. Like, if the man, like I said, if they said that he was shot in the early mornings and his body never found till evening time, 5:50 p.m. is when they got the report. What was going on in that meantime? Was there people there from before and wind up leaving when the man got shot, and just everybody just left him there? Which would have made me think, was this a setup? But then I don't know. It don't really too seem like it, because a lot of people that I'm looking through Reddit and stuff are saying like he's not really in them stuff. But when people say that, we don't really too know at the same time, you know? Not all the time people are so loud with what they're doing. But then a next thought came to my head was that, was this a mistake? Did this happen by accident? Like, were they just, I don't want to say playing with the gun, but remember these youths are 16. So were they just like, trying, I don't know, like trying to do a thing, or just looking at it and it fires and goes and kills him, and then they panic and run away, and then he turns himself in, look more after they say want him? Because really what was happening in all that time before, you know what I mean? But then at the same time, I don't know, it could have made an accident, but the news people them said that they saw the 19-year-old running through the cameras, them running downstairs and fling the gun into the river. He could have just panicked, because like I said, it could have been an accident, you know what I mean? But what made him turn himself in was the next question I had. Was his parents and stuff, like, did they know what happened and convinced him? Was Duppy riding him? Like, what made him go in and turn himself in? Which the next reason why I was thinking could have probably been an accident, you know what I mean? Because he never did it on purpose. Say that was the case. He never did it on purpose. So he's just gonna go turn himself in and see what can happen. I don't know, bro. But I seen somebody on Reddit post something that was kind of supporting my superstition. I want to read it to you guys. And all he's saying is, rest in peace to the young man. Seemed like a good kid. So many young kids with guns that don't, he put hat, but I think he meant to say that don't know how to use them. A gun is not a toy. You pull that trigger, even when you're playing around, you don't get to turn back the clock. Even if the person lives, they might not ever be able to function properly again. So it looks like that's what people are thinking is what happened with the story, that he ended up firing the thing by accident and licked his friend and killed him. Not that he was trying to set up his friend, even though that could be a possibility. We really don't know right now. It's too early to say. And because these are younger youths, they're not gonna put out everything like that on the news. You know what I mean? We're just gonna have to try see what we can figure out. And because it happened so fresh, I might have to do a part 2 on this. But we don't have much on this story right now. That's all we have. And I want you guys to let me know what you think about the situation. Rest in peace to the one that's falling. And we will talk next time on Talk the Things podcast.
Yeah, I'm a pretty little Barbie.